Welcome, welcome. What a beautiful gathering. It is so nice to see you.
Nicholas, Tracy. Long time no see, Tracy.
Also,
Yeah.
that's funny because I'm
But
like, how is that true?
because we
It's
were
been,
together
yeah.
yesterday.
And I missed. Welcome, Jan.
And Jan again, so soon. I love it.
That's so wonderful. It's great to have you all come in. I'm going to rename you Jan to Jan.
Yeah.
iPhone's her nickname.
Oh, so exciting. We have so many people. This is a beautiful, so excited for today.
It's 100 degrees in Philadelphia today.
Oh no.
Wow. That's quite a lot.
They canceled the 4th of July parade.
Good
I
idea.
thought you were going to say they canceled the 4th of July. That's fine with me.
Welcome, Jen, Barbara. Good to
and
see
Martha.
This is
Martha.
lovely. Yes, Martha and Nicole and Gwen.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Doing a lovely soft opening. Thanks to our producer, Carolina. She chose some music for us.
Slash DJ.
Yeah, slash DJ. Exciting. It's such a lovely, it's just like, I feel like this is such the expression of what the festival is, which is the gathering of people in community, in opportunity to just say, hey, hi, what are we thinking about freedom today?
Mhm.
Like, let's have a barbecue, let's have a gathering, let's have a water or something as we spend time together. So glad that you're here. I'm gonna give us one more minute as people come in.
There
We're
is
so-
an official Juneteenth drink. We call it red drink, which is hibiscus tea.
Oh, yeah.
So you just put some lemon in it, some sugar in it, and ice, and it's called red drink if you're from the South, but I call it Juneteenth juice. So that's what I'm drinking today.
Red drink, Juneteenth juice. It
It's
is
hibiscus.
lovely.
Hibiscus tea with lemon or tangerine. You flavor it to your choice.
Taste bud.
Yes.
Wonderful.
It's delicious.
Excellent. Well, I think that reference to Juneteenth is a beautiful opportunity to kick us off in this session. If Carolina, you might bring down our music. Thank you. What a wonderful opening. This is day 16 of the Freedom Festival, and I saw this beautiful meme that was, it's 15 days after Juneteenth, and it is also the 4th of July. Welcome to the Freedom Festival 2026. Some of you have been in sessions for these last 16 days. Some of you may have just come for this final event. And we are very glad that you are here. As many of you know, I am Dr. Raquel Holmes, the founder of the Freedom Festival and the lead Freedomista, which is my greatest pleasure with the festival. So it's been 2023 was our first festival with the desire to create community, build community together where we could explore and celebrate freedom and independence together. And we are, the people who built this are people like you and me, independent scientists, therapists, educators, business folk, people who are interested in that question of what does emancipation and independence look like in the US? So we've had over 22 events in this festival. You will be able to see them after the festival on our YouTube channel, which is Freedom Festival USA. But we're particularly excited to have this session of Heartbeats for Freedom. And Heartbeats for Freedom grew out of all of the Freedomista meetings that took place during the year and the collaboration between two fabulous women leaders that we have here. So I just have the joy of turning this over to Enid Pickett and Rochelle Moore for Heartbeats of Freedom. For freedom.
Welcome, everyone. My name's Enid Pickett, and I'd like to introduce Raquel.
And I could come on too. Rochelle. Raquel in Spanish, which I love, probably better than my own name. And I'm so thrilled to be with my sister, friend, collaborator, activist, fierce woman, Enid Pickett.
It's my pleasure. One thing I have to say, the Freedom Festival has a lot of opportunities for people to develop and grow, and our friendship grew out of the Freedom Festival meetings, and this collab was designed with Rochelle by phone calls back and forth from Atlanta to Windsor, back and forth, and we created this by meeting on the phone and having endless hours of joyous phone calls.
Yes.
And this is the result of all those hours put in. It was a labor of love, I have to say
Of
that.
love, yes. And I think, as you said, how we met was we actually met playing with each other.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it was seamless, and it's exactly the way I experience the philosophy that we're practicing about building community. I mean, it was
Where
not,
were
it was
you
like
playing? Where were you playing?
I'm trying to think. Do you remember, Enid? Was it Freedom Festival
We,
something, or was it Creative Playground? Which one?
well, we would do creative playground conversations, and our conversations were extraordinary because we would literally talk about everything, and we would focus our conversations on designing the program that we're about to see today, Heartbeat of Freedom.
Right,
But it came
right.
from conversations going off on those tangents and being adjacent to so many different things in the world that brought us back home to the heartbeat of
Yeah, and I
freedom.
think you reminded me, I'm pretty sure this was led by Raquel in one of the Freedomista or Freedom Festival
The breakout room.
volunteer
Yes,
breakout rooms.
yes,
Right, right. So we were working and playing well together,
yes. So
and we continued.
the structure of the Freedom Festival organization and also the overall goal of the Freedom Festival itself is to create these relationships in playful, exploratory, creative, artistic ways that are focused on a positive outcome of our liberation and freedom of today by
Right,
looking
right.
backwards at the past. I
Yeah,
had a blast, so thank you, everybody. Let's get
yeah.
started. You think, Rochelle, can you
Okay.
show everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Heartbeat of Freedom. The Heartbeat of Freedom is based on the famous 4th of July speech by Frederick Douglass, written on July 5th, 1852. Let us begin with an excerpt from the opera. This Frederick Douglass opera was composed by Dorothy Rudd Moore and performed by the Opera Ebony in 1994, which featured Kermit Moore on first cello. It premiered in 1985 at the City College of New York. My name is Rochelle Moore. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, LCSW, psychotherapist based in Atlanta, Georgia. I will be your host for this performance. The opera is my musical family heirloom because both Dorothy Rudd Moore and Kermit Moore are my aunt and uncle. I'm very proud to present this unique experience and expression of freedom with you all today. You will hear with your ear this operatic art, and I know it will touch your heart. Following this performance will be another art expression of Douglass's speech through the contemporary art of hip hop. Lastly, you will hear this speech through the eyes and heart of a woman. I hope you enjoy these phenomenal performances expressing the heartbeat of freedom presented by the Freedom Festival USA. Thank you for being with us today.
Fellow citizens, pardon me. Allow me to ask, why I'm called to speak beneath this bright and festive sky? What have I or those that I represent to do with independence born to national pride in you? Are the principles of freedom and your human justice too in your Declaration of Independence extended to our view? Am I called to bring a humble offering to the altar to confess the benefits while my brothers start to falter to express deep gratitude for the blessings of the state resulting from an independence that left us to our fate? Would to God for your sakes and for ours in the dust that a yes could be returned to those questions true and just. Then would my task be light, my burden easy and delight. For who is so cold that a nation's warmth won't ignite? Who's so dead to gratitude, so cold-hearted and so small? Who wouldn't join the celebration and answer to the call when the chains of slavery are torn from every limb? I am not that man to stand silent, dark, and grim, but such is not the case. And I say it with a sigh, a sad sense of difference beneath this summer sky. I am not included in this glorious celebration. Your high independence only proves our separation. The rich inheritance of liberty your fathers did declare is shared by you today, but mine is nowhere near. The sunlight bringing life and healing to your head has brought to me the stripes, the mourning, and the dead. This 4th of July is yours, not mine to claim as home. You may rejoice in light while I must weep alone. To drag a man in chains to this temple of the free is a sacred insult and inhumane mockery. My subject then is slavery, the American disgrace. I see it from the enslaved man's point and look it in the face, standing with the crushed and with the bleeding in their pain. I declare the nation's actions are a dark and sickening stain. America is false to the past and the present hour and binds herself to future lies with all her worldly power. Must I prove the slave is man? That point's already won. The slaveholders acknowledged it by everything they've done. They punished disobedience with the sentence of legal death. 72 crimes in Virginia subject the black man unto death, while for the white man only 2 will bring the same. What is this but proof of the manhood in our name? It is not astonishing while we're planting and we're reaping, using tools and building ships while the rest of you are sleeping, acting as clerks, lawyers, poets, authors, and the rest, worshiping the Christian God and put to every test while living in our families as husbands and wives. We are called to prove the manhood of our very human lives. There is not a man beneath the open sky of heaven who doesn't know that liberty to every soul is given. Am I to argue it is wrong to make a man a brute, to rob him of his liberty and leave his spirit mute, to tear his flesh with lashes and to hunt the man with dogs, to sell him at an auction like the timber or the logs? No, I will not argue, for the time of that has passed. At a time like this, a burning truth must now be cast. It is not light that's needed, but a fiery, biting stream to wake the nation's conscience from its hypocritical dream. For it is not the gentle shower, but the thunder and the storm to expose the crimes and cruelty that United States performed. What to the American slave is your 4th of July? A day that reveals the gross injustice of the lie. To him, your celebration is a sham, a hollow sound. Your bragged about liberty lets the wicked gather round. Your prayers and your hymns, your religious parade, are fraud and deception in the shadow you have made. Search the whole world over. Roam through every ancient land where the king and the tyrant rule with a heavy hand. Lay your facts beside the practices of this nation in its pride, and you will say with me, there is no place left to hide for shocking cruelty and hypocrisy so grim, America stands unmatched from the center to the rim.
On July 5th, 1852, in Rochester, New York, Frederick Douglass gave one of his most famous speeches. What to the slave is your 4th of July? Fellow citizens, pardon me. Allow me to ask, why am I called upon to speak here today? What have I or those I represent to do with your national independence? Are the great principles of political freedom and justice embodied in that Declaration of Independence extended to us? And am I therefore called upon to bring our humble offering to the national altar and to confess the benefits and express devout gratitude for the blessings resulting from your Independence Day? I am not included within the pale of this glorious anniversary. Your high independence only reveals the immeasurable distance between us. The blessing in which you this day rejoice are not enjoyed in common. The rich inheritance of justice, liberty, prosperity, and independence bequeathed by your fathers is for you, not for me. The sunlight that brought life and healing to you has brought stripes and death to me. This 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice. I must mourn. To drag a man in fetters, to drag a woman in fetters, to drag a child in fetters into the grand illuminated temple of liberty and call upon them to join you in joyous anthems were inhuman mockery and sacrilegious irony. Do you mean, citizens, to mock me by asking me to speak today? What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals more than all other days of the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which we all are constant victims. To us, your celebration is a sham. Your boasted liberty an unholy license. Your national greatness, swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciation of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence. Your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with your religious parade and solemnity, are to us mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy. A thin wall to cover up crimes that would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation of the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States at this very, very hour. At a time like this, scorching irony, not convincing argument, is needed. Oh, had I the ability, and could reach the nation's ear, I would today put forth a fiery stream of biting ridicule, blasting reproach, withering sarcasm, and stern rebuke. For it is not light that is needed, but fire. It is not a gentle shower, but thunder.
I believe Enid and Rochelle are going to lead us next. And you might want to unmute.
Yes, I was offering the space after that powerful reading to breathe it in and feel. So Enid and I are going to continue, hopefully, with you, the conversation.
You got it. You got it. It's okay. Take your time. Take your time.
We're with you. We're with you, Rochelle.
This conversation has been going on for decades, hundreds of years, and we're choosing to pick where Frederick Douglass came on the scene.
Take your time.
And Enid and I decided to pose some questions from Frederick Douglass's timely questions in 1862 or 5 or whatever. And we want to expand on those questions that he posed today, then and now. And the question that we found we wanted to start with first was his question to the grouping of people, abolitionists. To them, his question was, why me? Basically. Why did you choose?
You got it. It's okay.
I guess it's a why question. Why did you choose me to celebrate your freedom, of which I don't have? Why me? Why did you choose me? To this august grouping of people in Zoom, why did you choose?
Why did you choose us? You chose us to join us. And because of the shared moment that we have right now, we're asking the question to everyone who can see and hear us. Fellow Zoom citizens, pardon me. Allow me and Rochelle to ask, why are we called upon to speak here today? What have we or those we represent to do with your national independence? Are the great principles of political freedom and of natural justice embodied in that Declaration of Independence extended to us?
And am I, therefore, called upon to bring our humble offering to the national altar and to confess the benefits and express devout gratitude for the blessings resulting from your independence to us.
But such is not the state of the case. We say it with a sad sense of disparity between us. I am
We-
not. You
Sorry.
are not. We are not.
We are not.
We are not.
We are not included within the pale. Within the pale.
Of
Within the pale.
this glorious anniversary.
Your high independence only reveals the immeasurable distance between
Immeasurable.
us.
Immeasurable.
Immeasurable
Immeasurable.
distance. The blessings in which you this day rejoice are not enjoyed,
Not enjoyed
in common.
in common. The rich inheritance of injustice, slavery,
Poverty,
and dependence bequeathed by your father is shared by you, not by us.
not by us.
The sunlight brought life and healing to you, has brought stripes
And death to me,
and death
to us,
to us.
to
This-
all.
This 4th day of July is yours.
This 4th of July 2026 is yours.
Not ours.
Not mine.
You may rejoice. I must mourn.
I'm in grief.
To drag a human in fetters into the grand illuminated temple of liberty and call upon him to join you in joyous anthems were inhuman mockery.
And sacrilegious irony.
Do you mean, citizens, to mock us?
By asking us, me, us, to speak today?
If so, there is a parallel to your conduct. And let me warn you that it is dangerous to copy the example of a nation whose crimes towering to the heavens.
Whose crimes towering up to the heaven were thrown down by the breath of the Almighty.
The Almighty.
Burying that nation in irrecoverable ruin. Irrecoverable ruin.
Ruin. We can today take up the plaintive lament of a peeled and woe-smitten people. So we ask again and again, why are we called here to speak here?
Today. And I would add for us, who are we here?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rochelle.
Thank you, my sister. So we are now continuing this conversation that started with Frederick today with all of us. Now,
If anyone would like to share or just take time to breathe and process the heartbeat of freedom, I completely understand and respect that. So, because we have time, do you think we could have music for maybe 3 minutes and then we can come back and talk? Would that sound okay?
say that again. I'm sorry.
No, I'm thinking of a musical break for maybe 2.5 minutes,
While people are thinking,
just to give us a time to breathe and digest,
breathe.
process, stretch,
Yes, I like that.
and to balance the energy.
Yes.
So if we could have our wonderful producer, Caroline, play the music that was the intro today for about 2 minutes, that'd be awesome. Yeah. Let's mute everybody.
Now we can lower the background music.
Yeah, we can start to close it down. Yeah.
And we're eager to hear from us what your thoughts have been during that interlude, and keep the conversation going. Continue the questions. And I have a request of you, Raquel, if it's possible. I saw people were entering into the chat. If you could kind of keep us aware, and if you wanted to read the chats, or if the people that entered your chat would read your chat. I don't want to lose any part of the conversation. Is that Jan? You don't have to raise your hand. You just come up.
Rochelle and Enid, thank you for putting together this program. These were all pieces that I had never heard. They're just beautiful together. They echo each other. And thank you for doing this. And thank you for Enid for asking us to take an interlude. And I'm only jumping in because I have to go soon. But I was thinking, this is so hard to think about, but we're performing Frederick Douglass. We're sharing in performances of Frederick Douglass, and he is in our lives. We know of him. We are him in some way. We're part of this American culture. And so it's this very kind of confusing thing. We're completing Frederick Douglass. And what does that mean? And the word that stood out in all three pieces, I think, was thunder. It's not time for something, it's time for thunder. And I think that what I've seen in the festival is this kind of, I think it's something about us coming together and building with the hypocrisy and failure and all of that shit, and somehow figuring out how to make something new with it, which we're doing, but boy, is it a big task. Anyway, I don't know if that helps us kick it off, but I wonder how you all think about that he's literally of us and that we're going onward with him somehow.
Rochelle, did you want to say something first?
I think I'm just percolating with it, and with the group percolating
Okay.
a response to that lovely request.
I'd love to hear as many voices as possible. Whoever feels, just popcorn it.
So that you have one of the voices from the chat.
That would be nice, yeah.
I believe this is Paula. I thought the pain was mostly in the past. Recently, I learned that Russia is importing Africans to be abused and killed in the war with Ukraine. The USA has contributed to the global perception that black lives do not matter.
How is that landing on people, with people? From my beautiful cousin, Paula, who may want to add to that or not.
I'd like to say one quote from Frederick Douglass is, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress." And because this progress is going to be characterized primarily by struggle, conflict, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist and has a forward motion. You know, we are progressing, even though it may not feel that way. We are here on a Zoom with free speech rights, sharing this information, and we look at the multiple wins, not minor or major, just multiple wins of how we're progressing. It is a big task. You're absolutely right.
Say that last part again, Nina, that you said. I could not hear.
We have a big task in front of us, And what we're trying to do is to make sure that we look at the multiple success examples while we're moving forward. They may be minuscule in size, they may be not as major or powerful or purposeful, but it's still, we're moving in the right direction. I don't want us to lose sight of the healing aspect, that we are not getting worse, we're getting better, even though it's very difficult to measure it when it looks like we're losing a battle. We're not losing a battle. This has been going on for hundreds of years. So we look at the daily perspective of how we're getting better. The Supreme Court also had some judgments this weekend that were good and not so good. So we have to look at the total picture, what I'm saying. But I understand how you feel. I totally understand.
Yeah, I want to, this is Martha. The total picture, but right here in this room with you is incredibly powerful. And I feel really honored to be able to be in this space, and the beauty of using Frederick Douglass's work, but building your own voices in direct request to us, everyone here in the room and me, to be in that space. What it is, what is it to be here on 4th of July and the things we're creating and building. And I'm lucky to know you, Rochelle, on Zoom, and to know Enid in person, and the love you both exude in the work, and the way you bring people into the fold with honesty. And there's just a way that's very brave and bold, the work you're doing. So I'm really, and I wish Woodrow was here. I'd just love to hear his experience doing this with you too. He did the hip hop piece. Anyway, I'm just sitting here feeling truly honored, and the pain and the power behind the work you're doing. Thank you.
Thanks, Martha. Thanks, Martha.
I'd like to comment can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
As an educator and as an ancestor, I appreciate your bringing in your aunt and uncle's work, and your the combination of arts, especially poetry, as I'm moving into a poetry unit with my educators, K through 5 candidates. How does spoken word play a role in hip hop, the 5 pillars of hip hop in the classroom today, and what are its roots? On a personal, ancestral note, my ancestor, Charles Sumner, so he was caned in the Senate around the time of Douglass's work and performance for filibustering against slavery. So as an abolitionist educator, I'm related to Sumner. Sumner didn't have his own kids. He was gay. He was in love with several men of the time, and that's now come out in a new biography. But I went to DC to the Sumner building, which has a diorama and a whole history of Douglass in 3-dimensional parts on the first floor, and the kind of intersection of their lives. So incredibly intersected. Douglass was such a mentor to Sumner's work in the Senate, where he was able to be a radical political voice and, instrumental in, in many ways. So his allyship and their trusted friendship I've been learning more and more about how they impacted each other's lives intellectually and morally, and how instrumental Douglass was in what Charles Sumner did in the Senate and outside the Senate. And as an activist myself, just pushing the constitutional lines of laws. I'll just say 2 things about the Constitution is something that Douglass saw as an anti-slavery document rather than a pro-slavery pact. And I encourage my candidates to help their students, who are very young, question laws and how to step across laws and to challenge them. So just want to leave it there. Thank you for the incredible music and words that you combined.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I like that you brought in your ancestry into today, which makes me think more and more. And this, I hope this isn't going off topic, Enid.
No, it's not.
Okay, just looking at just the speech of Frederick Douglass that was spoken in 1860, whatever, and what we've learned even before now about enslavement, the business end of enslaving people was what I call forced incest and miscegenation for capital gain. And somehow I have it in my mind that there was so much of that going on between the slaves and the owners, ruled by the owners, and how children and families were split up and sent hither, thither, and yon in this country. I'm aware that people didn't know their relatives because they had never met them since babyhood. I am convinced that as we moved around and about this country and other countries, because we traveled, I guess I'm wondering in this room, how many of us here are Black, given how people moved around and about and met and loved and formed families.
And while people are thinking of that question, I want to also add Frederick Douglass himself was a product of this culture. His father was white, his mother was an enslaved young woman that he never knew. And usually the strategy would be to keep your child for 1 year so it's old enough to drink and eat solid food. And then it was taken from the mother, and the mother was sold and the child was sold. But the business of producing more children, and women were known as breeders, some having up to 20 children with different fathers, or sometimes the same father. It happened for generations, and it has influenced our ancestral tree today. We're probably a lot Blacker than what people would like to think. But if you just do the math and think just generally how many people were there as a population in the South, and the biggest population was the Black slave population. And that was generated by those types of procedures for profit. Selling humans were profitable, and it was extremely successful for a long, long time. So the chances of that happening, of us having Black DNA literally spread all over the South, is extraordinarily real, very real. So the question does pose a place where we would have to consider the unconsidered. And so it is very different form of developing a multiple perspective of how Black are you? And if we look at the numbers and look at the business model of it all, we, after 200 years of being in the 250th anniversary today, probably have untold relatives that we have no idea of, I think. We are brothers and sisters after all. Do we have any more comments? We can go to another question, perhaps.
Or we could call on someone who's thinking loudly.
Nick has his hand up too.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Hey, Nick.
Hi, Rochelle and Enid. Thank you for it. I saw some of the planning for this, and I appreciate seeing the final event and the emotion that it brings. Enid, I wanted to say that I really appreciated your hopefulness that you expressed, and it also mimics, as we saw in the readings we did yesterday. It also mimics Douglas's hopefulness,
Absolutely.
which and I well, and so I think it's so there's the I mean the hard hitting parts of Douglas's speech are the ones that are people glom onto, and they're very powerful. And I think, but there's also some hopefulness. Uh, there is some celebration, as we saw yesterday, in at least recognizing the founders, the signers of the Declaration of Independence, and their I'm looking at my notes here. Their restiveness, their mad, they were made mad
Yes.
by oppression, and I think that's part of what he's trying to get at, right? Is that, well, they were made mad. I'm mad too.
True. True.
So that's what I was thinking about.
I'm glad we're celebrating him because usually this marginalized population, if you want to say, have been ignored for a long, long time, and their individualism and success and integrity of their moral character has been extremely made invisible. And he's one of many people. Not everyone was a Frederick Douglass, but there were others similar to him that we have no historical account of. But no one worked alone. He worked collaboratively with everyone. And I think that is part of the positive spirit you picked up on, Nick, of being hopeful.
Looks like Tracy has their hand up.
Good, I can't see.
Hello, everyone. Rochelle, Enid, the words, just presenting them in these different ways with the different music, and words are power, words are seeds. And I think of our current government and its erasure of words from its website, of DEI words or the word woman and all of this. And so I just am holding this gathering as sacred, as these seeds that are going out, and there are just such incredible imagery that I will not forget. The idea of those in fetters being brought into the temple it's in me now. And so I just want to thank you both for this incredible offering today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And did you want to write what you and Barbara have in or say?
Go ahead.
I wasn't sure if Raquel was asking about somebody first.
Oh, who were you asking, Raquel?
Oh, I was asking if Barbara and Sation is what we see, but Jen
Barbara. Oh, Station
had written something, and so I didn't know if you wanted to say.
Oh, okay. Sation.
Sation is Barb's Buddhist name.
Oh, I love it.
It's so great to be here. I wrote in the chat, beautiful, painful, powerful presentation. The Declaration of Independence for me is to follow the lead of and support and create side by side with Dr. Holmes and Rochelle Moore. The Declaration of Independence is to keep turning to each other, not to the gaze of the white man powers that be. Thank you so much. And thank you, Enid and Rochelle. Beautiful.
And we could just add that we are tuning in from the so-called Cradle of Liberty in Philadelphia.
City of brotherly love.
Yeah. Where the first president's house, the house of George Washington, was uncovered back in 2011, something like that.
I think we need to come closer to the microphone.
Oh, can you hear us?
No, better.
Okay. Oh yeah, this is yeah. Tell you.
Well, we live very close to the first president's house, George Washington's first the first White House in Philadelphia that was uncovered in an archaeological dig many years ago now, I think 2011 or something like that. And some of you may know that there was some signage around the house placed talking about how George Washington had 9 slaves and talked about their enslavement. The Trump administration had those signs removed.
I know.
So are working to restore the signage there and tell that story that needs to be told. And we need to hear the voices of all Americans, including, you know, the dark history that we've had.
Absolutely.
So that's on my mind today. And thank you so much for this presentation.
Thank
Wonderful.
you. Thank you for using your voice to get us out of the darkness, because we are, as you say it, from the past, there were many, many dark experiences and which are trying to slip backwards that way. You're absolutely true. However, the only thing that can, one of the things we can do is what you're doing, is talking about it, sharing it, having conversation, having communion about it, spreading the word, spreading information, and knowing that your point of view is valid, not just the points of view that are being controlled through the media. So you are also brave, and I commend you both for living in Philadelphia. I know I'm from New Jersey. I know the East Coast. You have to have eyes in the back of your head, so to speak.
Yep.
And I completely respect that. But you also have your third eye open when you know what it looks like to be in a place of truth and a place that's manipulated truth. So I appreciate your bravery as well. And please tell everybody your story, because that's how we know. That's how we learn things. Thank you for tuning in today and watching this. This is our shared experience
That we keep sharing.
Yes.
And I'm liking how this group is so loving and transparent, and I'm listening to the irony of a lot of our history today. You know, how we were treated badly. And I think had we not been, not that it was necessary, I don't think we'd be where we are at this particular time. And I think we and our ancestors were building, as we still are building, with all of it, with the shit, the shinola, and whatever else was in the mix. It's like, and that's why I feel so much more connected in my humanity to humans. And I find that a lot of what we are impacted by has been like propaganda or whatever, conditioning so that, you know, governments could get people to do whatever. At the same time, it did not silence us. I think that what Jennifer and everyone was talking about in Washington with the House, it's interesting, the erasure that's implied actually made us get louder. I mean, it's not like it worked. We're doing it. We're building with it.
Mhm.
We're finding what we need to do to go forward. They cannot actually silence the world.
Mhm.
And we're talking about what's supposed to not be talked about. I mean, in this transparent way of building. And when Paula mentioned the pain in the past, I think that was by design too, from the institution of education in this culture. And that didn't work either, because I was listening to you all and listening to that speech for the umpteenth time. And I was hearing, I'm about to lose my train again. What did I just say? Oh, the past.
Yes.
The grief we're talking about today in the present, I consider that a limbo grief. And when Paula mentioned the pain, that's the pain I think we're feeling now.
Mhm.
Limbo. We're tween.
Mhm.
And whether we think we're grieving or not, we're grieving.
Mhm.
There's a lot of dead people that we've been reading, learning from, lamenting, grieving, hating. Limbo.
Mhm.
The pain is now. And it's also healing pain.
Mhm.
Some think of all the, whatever that word is that I forgot, ironies.
The healing begins with painful experiences, and sometimes when your feet hurt or when your knees hurt or whatever, you know what I'm talking about. It's hurting because it's actually healing.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to get more blood to that area. I don't want to get into the scientific part of it, but your body's talking to you. And when pain is talking to you, it's communicating, be present why I exist. I exist, this pain exists for a purpose, for a reason, and to honor that. We have inherited a lot of things from our ancestors, including that pain. And that also needs to be, I guess you could say, made known and acknowledged and actualized to the point where it is an authentic expression of who we are. A lot of us are going through a lot of different kinds of pain. Can I get a witness, y'all?
Yeah.
We all are going through
Amen.
a lot.
Amen.
So out of the multiple menus, pain could be our ancestral pain coming in because they've already seen this. They've already been through this. This is not their first time experiencing oppression, and you can list all the adjectives. I choose not to right now, but by knowing what this pain is, it makes you have a relationship with it and saying, I know why I feel depressed, or I know why I feel angry or frustrated, along with current life issues. We also have inherited traumas and pain in our dreams, in our waking life. And part of the healing is acknowledging them. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
I know Gwen wanted to say something, and then there are some things in the chat.
Okay.
And maybe Gwen might reference them as well. But
Right. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all so much. As people were talking in the last, time that we've been like just reflecting on stuff now, it's really bringing to me this speech, the first speech that you played for us of Frederick Douglass talking to the officials that brought him, the
abolitionist women.
Right. And that independence, July 4th, is not his or their thousands and thousands of people's holiday. And I was thinking about how much that kind of message of include relating like everybody is included in the supposed developments for the country continues constantly. And most political talk you hear is that. And it's so manipulative that it's just good to see how manipulative it is. That's the main thing I can say. So much of it is just what he was saying, but he says it so brilliantly. So I think maybe I and others, want to read it really carefully so I can have a better way of saying it. But just in one way, you can look at New York City. There are so many people sleeping on the street. I just saw somebody dead on the street the other day, and 99% of them are Black. And yes, this is the city of international finance, and so yeah, I think we can use those words to build something that, as people were writing in the chat, that creates something with all of that and gives people tools to see through
Thank you.
that manipulation. His
Thank-
words.
Words.
Seeds.
Feet.
No, seeds. Words are
Seeds. Right.
So,
Right,
so
Tracy?
Glitch was dropping some seeds
Mhm.
as they do. And a couple of them they'll read for you, Rochelle, as you asked.
Thank you.
Can you hear me okay in this
Yeah.
volume? Okay.
Yeah.
My ancestors of the Cherokee, the natives who helped the Pilgrims survive the winter, and now fight to prove their status as natives after helping colonists survive, angers me. Why can we not see humans as human? Why did the people who felt the need to be seen as more human or better than other humans get to make that call to begin with?
Amen.
Mhm.
And guess what? They don't get to make that call. They just don't know how to spell human. It's spelled HUE hyphen MAN. We all have different degrees of melanin. Human.
Yes.
And on that note, with the human, you all were talking earlier about, I guess all the injustice and the bad stuff and the, killings and all of that. It made me think about what? Oh, a movie that I think is kind of germane to this called The Human Stain.
Yes.
Write it down. Think about looking at it. I think you can stream it. Sir Anthony Hopkins is in it. One of my favorite actors. I want you to see it. I'm not doing any spoiler or anything, but it's kind of what we're talking about. And it's a fairly new movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then, speaking of movies, I'm going to suggest one if you suggest one. This is the one we talked about earlier. Yesterday,
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to see an old movie about, actually, it's a Western movie by Tarantino.
Tarantino.
And it's the Django movie, DJANGO, Django. And Jamie Foxx is in it. He's the star. And Kerry Washington is the female lead. And Samuel Jackson is also in it.
Oh, yes, Lord.
So my only spoiler is that it's a dramatic view of history, very dramatic view of history, and he tells the truth. And I highly recommend it.
And aside on Tarantino, who's Italian, he saw something, another movie or something in it, and it pissed him off. So Django was a response
Oh,
to
really?
that other movie. Yeah, he was pissed off. And I can't for the life of me remember, somebody probably will, the depiction of the movie that he got angry about. It would make even more sense why he created Django.
Okay.
It was a
Okay.
response to something that was probably laden with lies or propaganda or something. He just said, this is what I'm going to say about that. And that's when he wrote Django.
Mm.
I had a response to your question of who here thinks they're black,
Or who here is black?
or who here is black.
Is black. Yeah, besides me, you, Enid.
Right.
I can't tell.
And well, and I was thinking of the question, and Glitch had a strong response in the question of the construction of race as a whole as being evil, right? Which
Oh,
and its construction was a long time ago. And yet I was thinking what I appreciate is the question, regardless the answer. Right? Like, because I think it's, and it came up when Jesse Fields and I were working on something, I think, our early days of our Juneteenth for the Freedom Festival. And it was just that thing of how can you know? Right? How can you know? So there's ways, for myself and our family moving out of the South that I don't know the history of my family. And just also the buildings were burned and records are lost and things like that, right? So I haven't striven to look for lineage and connections. And yet it's this thing too, particularly I think since 2020, it was people going, oh, wait a minute, I discovered I'm black. I discovered that, my grandmother was a maroon and then she wasn't a maroon. She was white. Like the paperwork changed. Right. So the whole question of people passing, because I was thinking of the stories. Laura did the session on Damn Yankee and just looking at the stories that come from our families of who we are. What kind of family? And I was like, well, some people trace their family histories and they're like, we came from this place and this place and this place. But without thinking and keeping in mind that people pass, that people required to pass, that you can't, there's in many ways you can't know. And again, I think it's more the asking the question and even the answer that is strong. And speak of Dr. Jessie Fields, I seem to have magical qualities because she just appeared.
And before you say something, Jesse, I'm going to forget what Raquel brought up and Glitch, because I asked about black, right? And the two first responses have to do with race. Was I talking about race? I was not. So what I find interesting is just the word has so many connotations. I was not even thinking about DNA and race. But anyway,
what were you thinking?
What I was thinking about. Well, it's bigger than I'm not a color, first of all, and it's bigger than how you look, how your nose is, how big your mouth is. It's a whole, I don't know what to say about it, but it's small b when I'm talking about that. And I'm not thinking about race and separation so much because I'm learning more about the politicalness of Black small b internationally. There are people that identify as Black internationally, politically, and they have been doing work for years to really do the kinds of things we're talking about today. And race doesn't even come into it, other than what we're saying about the conditioning and the separation of people and, the whole manipulative thing somebody was just talking about. I find that really interesting, that just that word takes us to a place, one place, usually.
it's a perfect example of how our language has been hijacked, and the meanings and the connotations and the inferences, even to the finite nuances, have been manipulated through a lens of one of the isms, and most people will think of it, I'm going to look at it through my lens, which is this ism, or I'm going to look at it through my lens, which is a different ism, which is the same word, but it's multi. That's why I'm a huge cheerleader for multiple perspectives, because they both, or multiple ways, exist at the same time. We interpret it differently. We have inferences. Our contexts are even different sometimes. So it's wonderful to include all the perspectives and have a multiple perspective all the time. And then it'll be easier and more defined. You'll say, well, what exactly are you talking about, Black? At least you can fine tune it or deconstruct it a little bit. But we've been conditioned and trained socially and through psychological educational machines to not have a multiple perspective. And I'm thinking that's what is absolutely necessary for intellectual harvest, for us to even be able to have an inquiry. So that's one thing I want to also applaud about the Freedom Festival. That is embedded in everything. There's questions, there's research, there's historical aspects to it. We even have history teachers involved. So it is an opportunity for a lot of information to be interpreted differently and to add to that multiple perspective. It's a wonderful perspective to add to your small toolbox of perspectives.
I'm just jumping in. And I'm sorry, I owe everyone an apology. I just read I've been, tied up with different things and had different things going on this afternoon. And I was attracted to the invitation. Certainly Frederick Douglass, what is the 4th of July? To the slave, what is the meaning of the 4th of July? Probably messing that up. But I thank you for having me, and I just wanted to listen. I think just to add, when we're talking about Black or Blackness, I think we're talking about the world, and it's not seen that way. But part of our work, I think, for me, is to express the centrality of Blackness, relatively speaking, politically speaking, in relationship to the world, to our history and our future. So I would just say that, and thank you very much. And hopefully there's a tape of all this that perhaps I'll be able to listen to. But thank you for your work. The Freedom Festival is international and broad, and I certainly agree with that.
Thank you, Dr. Fields.
Thank you.
You came in at the right time. You were on time.
Thank you.
I hesitate to call it CP time, but
Well, you did say it was the right time, so.
Oh, the right time. That's the time. It's always the right time.
The right time.
So let me also tell you, speaking of time, my grandmother says, you, and she means the universal you, can never be late. And why? Because it doesn't start until you get there.
There you go.
So it started right on time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
I just want to plug what I put in the chat in case you didn't see it. For those who want to investigate, it's an invitation to people who identify as white or want to explore European ancestry, but it's actually pretty intersectional. The part I participated in around class and the construction of race and doing one's own research addresses white fragility and not shying away from even things like guided visualizations. They'll have you stand in whatever ancestor you do know about in their shoes or in a spot they stood in, and look, holding the hand of that ancestor through their eyes and through yours into this sort of portal to what are you seeing in front of you? What land did you own? What land were you living on? What was going on that land, and so on. So there's a lot of tools they use that I hadn't used in an education setting before. So there's some, I don't think there's a link there, but there's some info. You can look it up. Thanks again for this.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
So is there anything more? Maybe we can start to close up a little bit because we have some music at the end. I read in the chat that we started with music. Are we going to end with music? And actually there is some music that we have at the end, I believe. Is there anything more in the chat, or should we, what do you think? Rochelle and Raquel, what do you think?
I think I want to let the group kind of weigh in on that.
Okay.
The people that haven't been able to say anything yet, because we actually end at 7, right?
Yes.
And in the same spirit of what is it? When we arrive and when we depart is all the right time.
Right.
That is for us.
Even the multiple times.
Yeah. But I like the question of to the group.
That's a real question to the real group.
I have one thing from Glitch again that I'd like to read.
Oh, please.
There's more above it, but the part that I am moved by, actually, I'll read the Glitch. Do I just read the short bit from 327 or the part that's 326 and 327?
Whichever part stands out most to you.
I think they go together, but the part that really struck me was, I shall rest when no children must cry themselves to sleep, no longer asking the world in silent sobs, why must it be like this? And I think your commitment, Glitch, it just moves me.
I'm really impressed by everybody who chose to be here today. Because I see your activity, whether you're talking, not talking, quiet, whatever, shaking your head, agreeing, disagreeing, it doesn't matter. You're showing up. And Enid and I talked about this way of seeing, my brain is checking out. Racism in the US anyway. My experience, and you can all just say that is whack. I think everyone, at least in our country, since I live here, has a responsibility to deal with our racism. Personally, I grew up being taught how to be a racist, just like every white person in the US. I got taught how to be a racist. I did not know that because I always associated power with abuse and all that kind of stuff. But I was trained to look at people who look like me as criminal. If you were darker than me, I was scared of you. I had an aunt that told me as a teenager and her daughter that Black is definitely not beautiful, it is ugly. And I don't let any Black child in my classroom cozy up to me. I tell them they're ugly, first grade. I'm aware that a lot of our parents sat us in front of the TV set, age 5, 6, 7, 8. So we just stopped running around. The news was on. Every criminal for years when I grew up was usually very dark-skinned, mostly men, and they were in handcuffs and whatnot. They were rapists, they were murderers, they were this, that, and the other. a lot of bougie Black folks that I grew up with separated some of us, it's class, some of us from the other side of the track to this side of the track. So I was there. That was in my brain. So I really have been trying to, whatever you call it, own it and do something different with that because it's here. I mean, I can't like untake it out of my brain. It affects me to this moment. And as a Black person, I cannot act like I wasn't taught very well. I was carefully taught. And so that's the kind of conversations I'm interested in and responsibility for it. I'm not blaming white people for that. I'm not.
We were all carefully taught, and
Carefully.
the power of the machine media gave us the archetypes of what the identities were. And I always like to play around with invisible identities because they also exist. But we were specifically trained, as you say, by repeated images. And there's been research, and I think we all know this. I think it came out in the 80s, actually, where we have tracked the power of persuasion and also the media. And when it comes to making commercials to buy things for capitalistic or to set attitudes in place as far as racism, I think it was the first silent movie was about the KKK and a damsel in distress. So the whole machine or system of visual insemination, I don't know what else to call it, worked really well. And the stereotypes grew and flourished and are foundational in many people's minds. So you were carefully trained and taught, so was the rest of the world, how we are shaped according to their perspective. That's why multiple perspective, again, here's another commercial for it, is to know that that was not the only way you saw things. That was one. There were other ways you saw things through media. You saw things through familia, through family. You saw things from micro to macro. You always including both. And all of that helps broaden your overall mindset and viewpoint. But you're absolutely right. Our fears are definitely manipulated. So one book would be by Joy DeGruy.
Yeah.
She is, Dr. DeGruy is a therapist, and she wrote post-traumatic slave syndrome. And we were talking about this earlier, Rochelle and I, and you came up with the phrase, remember?
Persistent traumatic slave traumatic slave system, persistent, not post. I was at a conference where people were challenging post. What do you mean post? Shit's still here. It's persistent. It's not post. And Nick had his hand up, I believe.
I was just thinking I had my own epiphany a little while ago or some time ago, and my grandparents were immigrants in the early 1900s, so very late 18, early 19, so around the turn of the last century. So for a long time I was like, well, this isn't like, I don't have to feel guilty about this because, but recently I adopted, just because it's not my fault doesn't mean it isn't my problem. Right. And it isn't my responsibility to make it better. Because I live in a society. I live in a community.
You're here.
I think
I've got
Epiphany is good.
a different contribution if unless
Go for it.
I'm remembering I grew up in upstate New York, so our class trip was to Boston, where I live now. And we went to the Museum of Science. And I'm remembering this, what I thought, well, was a very beautiful statue, and I'm wondering what happened to it. And it was depicting three individuals, one Caucasian, one Negro, and one Asiatic, all moving forward together. Right. So this is really, really this wonderful like depiction of unity moving forward together of these three distinct races. And I'm looking at that now and going, wow, that's a holdover of eugenics, isn't it? Right. It's just like, I mean, they were trying to be, it was the Science Museum. And of course, like the impression was, this is the Science Museum in Boston. This must be right.
Wow. Wow.
And so, anyway, yeah, that was just that's been recently playing back in my mind as I've learned about the cultural construct of race,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's like it's a cultural construct, and
Mm-hmm.
and from a scientist point of view, I've had to figure out what that means for me, because once as a physicist, once you say something is cultural construct, I'm like, that's bullshit then. Right. Because as a physicist, only the natural laws are only like things that come to you from nature
Mm-hmm.
are real, right? And these like so I've had to like rethink what does that mean about a cultural construct, because race is also a thing we have to deal with
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because of the culture that we're in. So like my brain hurts. I'm going to stop talking now.
Don't ever stop talking.
I appreciate that. Thank you. But
I'm appreciating the continuation of uncomfortable, independent conversations.
Yeah.
So many people know that those were conversations that colleagues, scientists, in some ways asked me to start, and where we could look at how we, as living in the construct of race and class, could actually do something of getting closer or create with one another. I think in the language is always limiting, right? It's like get closer, do something
Amen.
together, create together. But it was across race and class, and we did this for 3 years, and then brought that into the Freedom Festival, which I think our Juneteenth openings that Jesse and I would lead were very much those uncomfortable conversations of how do we look at what was Juneteenth and 10,000 soldiers having to show up to ensure the freedom of those who were no longer enslaved, looking at our history. And this conversation has been that uncomfortable conversation. And I really appreciate you leading us in this journey with the music, the hip hop, and your history, both personal and our history.
I like that, Raquel. And I'm tying that with everything people have been saying today as we gather together. And I'm wondering, as we're leaving each other today, and I would like to hear just some words about it. Given what we just did, what are we celebrating today?
I'm celebrating alternatives to SROs and cops in schools through teachers and allyships and support beyond allyship, how we can support our school desks not being unsafe places to sit, but that we push back against those like South Carolina laws that were supposed to protect white girls from being disturbed in their learning. That we continue to support unions for schools. I'm just speaking as an educator, so that we bring these conversations into our union conversations as well.
For sure.
How about you, Miranda? Are you able to speak?
Oh, I'm able to speak. Oh, there I go. Hey,
You just wanted to say.
I feel like I'm celebrating a lot of the people on this screen. I'm looking at Raquel, Enid, sorry, Jacqueline, Nick, Martha, Glitch, Nicole, Tracy, Ava, Dr. Fields, P. Quick Hall, Carolina, Lucy, and I think I'm celebrating, well, also the folks who left, and all our leaving. Yeah.
I wanted to see what you were wearing too, because you have this so artistic, creative, ethnic way of dressing. I resonate with those colors.
Thank you.
There's probably a story there. And Jacqueline, I'm wondering what you're celebrating today with your multiplicity of cultural interactions and growing up and
One thing I've experienced, and some my closest friends too, is like we just have no heart for celebrating July 4th today. And so I had a walk in nature before I came here. And then being here, I've just had my heart open, either in joy or grief or being illuminated by what I've been hearing, by incredible enjoyment of your presentation, and just awe of the conversation. So I celebrate our being together and the heart opening that's happening here. And that to me has been my most beautiful July 4th ever.
Ava, I'm not leaving you out. You don't get to slide away without your wisdom. You're muted. You can't hear?
Okay, I think I unmuted. Is that working?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Oh my gosh, what an amazing presentation. And I just want to echo what Jacqueline said. This is a day of mourning. And so I'm feeling that with all of you. But I'm also so happy to be here and see you all. And those powerful words. And the thunder, that's what it is. It's thunder now. It's time for some thunder. Quiet thunder, loud thunder, whatever kind of thunder the mystery brings. And yeah, I just love you all so very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ava. Thank you.
Ava, thank you for saying that. Your music was amazing and opened my heart in this Freedom Festival contribution you did. And I'm feeling something similar. I'm feeling like my heart is open. It's open to the pain and open to being, but But what makes it possible to see that healing is being in this space with you all and having it led by Rochelle and Enid so beautifully.
Thank you. Thank you.
Raquel refers to Ava as the musical medicine person. Is that what you said? It went away.
True.
And would Tracy's other person in the room want to say something? No pressure. No pressure.
I'm Dan, by the way. And I know Tracy had something else to say, but I was really struck. Thank you, first off, thank you for letting me be part of this. This is so amazing. And it is really mind-opening and heart-opening to have had this, to be part of this conversation, to be part of this experience. I really, really appreciate it. And one of the things I'm grateful for is that this conversation can happen because, as we know, not only in Frederick Douglass's time, but also in our own, there are plenty of forces that want to make sure none of these conversations ever go forward because they are seeds and they do cause change. And that is very frightening to those people who do not want any other voices heard. Thinking a little bit about the thread of thunder through this conversation, I was reminded of a line from a poem by the poet Countee Cullen, who has a poem about a Black person and a white person in a relationship walking down the street and having them being watched both by the white folks and the Black folks, being very uncomfortable with the fact that these two people were together. And he uses the phrase blazing paths of thunder and talking about any time two people who are not supposed to be connecting connect, that in itself, that connection in itself blazes that path of thunder forward. So that's what I came up with. You had something you want to say earlier?
I did. So Dan is my best friend. We met in college, God, how many years ago? Long decades ago. But what I wanted to say is that, you know, in terms of what I'm celebrating right now is really being in community and in collaboration and in building and investing in those relationships. And I feel so grateful to be here and to have been witness to this incredible offering today. And I just really look forward to continued connection and building things together. And so I'm just very grateful for that.
Is Lucy Colvin there? Would Lucy like to come to the forefront?
She did write in the chat.
Oh, did she? I'm not even looking at the chat. Okay.
It said, I am celebrating power of love.
Did we ask you, Dr. Fields, what you're celebrating?
Not yet.
You're muted.
Okay, I think I got, yes, okay, I managed to get off mute. I'm celebrating that I got to hear some of your conversation today, that I got to hear these lovely remarks and responses. And I'm also celebrating an opportunity in New York City, which I feel is very connected to this conversation, which is we're opening up the possibility, at least, to express our resistance to being to being satisfied. We are not satisfied with the status quo politically or culturally or socially, and we're putting forth, though we may not sort of succeed in the outcome, but the speaking up of independence of people who choose not to be members of either political party, choose to support democracy and everybody having the right to vote in all elections, and building community and the issues of ordinary people being put at the forefront, the real lives of people in our democracy being the heart of our democracy. That's what I feel like I'm working toward, what we're working toward, and I'm celebrating that opening in New York City where we get a chance to say these words, that we want to change the political structure. We want to really transform it. not just choose what A or B, which party, or, not just accept the choices that we've been given. We've been given. And this feels like we're creating new choices, new opportunities, new ways of being together. So I celebrate being able to be with you for these few moments today. Thank you.
Very much appreciated. I'd like to just add what I'm kind of celebrating in real time, what my life looks like now. I am sitting in a nursing home that I chose to be in for a period of time for health reasons. My freedom has been totally compromised here. They took my meds. I thought I was just supposed to bring them for them to catalog them. They're keeping them. They're not allowing me to have my own meds in my room. They're supposedly bringing me the meds. They haven't been here right yet in 4 days. The lack of freedom I have been experiencing each day in a place that's supposed to be assisting me, being treated with no respect by very young people. I am so in touch and happy about today being all about freedom, because it doesn't take much to snap it right. I mean, it was so subtle for a minute, and then I started feeling really bad, really scared and impotent, but all along I'm organizing through this maze that's happening. I have people on this call that I'm in touch with. I have a health team. I'm doing it with other people because I can't do it alone. And it's so stark how quickly freedom can be. I mean, and this is not a lot of authority people. These are younger people. These are people that don't know what they're doing. These are people that hate their jobs, and they're controlling my meds. I decided to hide some of them.
Good.
So that I at least would have some if they never came back with my meds.
Oh my God.
But the freedom aspect of it, the way I'm dealing with it, is what we're doing here. How we're connecting with other people. I'm but the whole loss of freedom at my age, what? And now I have to recreate ways to do what I need to do. Part of it was being here today with us. Because freedom is not a thing.
I heard it was a verb.
A verb?
Verb.
A verb. A verb.
Everyone in every assisted living elder care deserves touch, care, respect, respect for choices, all those things. I just saw a beautiful documentary, but it's in Denmark, where about this very nature-based and very touch-based somatic kind of elder care,
Wow.
care. But
Thank you for that, Nicole. I want to support Enid, you wanted to have another music piece to be played, and then we have a couple of things to say just as the wrap up.
Yes.
And it's so I wanted to give you that time.
My battery's about to die, so if I go away suddenly, that's what will happen. I'm just going to stick with it as long as I can.
I'm glad you're letting us know.
That sounds good. Enid, do you want to invite the next musical piece?
Yes, this is by Jill Scott, and she's singing our national anthem.
Thank you so much, everybody, for allowing me to tell my stories and read poetry and act in your movies and your TV shows and stuff. It's been a really blessed life, and I just want to say thank you so much for your encouragement and your support. It means a lot. You don't have to do it, but you do. And that's what's up. I wrote this when I was 19 years old. Ready? I'm 51 now, by the way.
Say, can you see by the blood in the streets that this place doesn't smile on you, colored child, whose blood built this land with sweat and their hands. But you'll die in this place, and your memory erased. Oh, say, does this truth hold This is not the land of the free, but the home of the slave.
Thunder. Thunder. We've come in with power. And the power is in our coming together. In people giving witness and building. And the festival is building. And we are present. Our joy is in what we bring and create together as we work to create. I don't know if that's a period, an ellipsis, or a comma. But we know that we're still in it and we're continuing and we are building. You're going to take these echoes with you throughout the day, throughout your life, and we are here. Carolina's going to put some links in the chat. I get to say, this is the closing of the 4th year of the Freedom Festival. That has been this beautiful creation of intimate spaces for conversations we don't typically have in the world. And yes, I said that with my full Californian accent. Thank you very much. And next year will be the 5th year. So make your reservations early. Ooh, yes. We are, this is one of 22 events or more. So we have a bit.ly link. We'd love to know that you were here. That's probably the second link. It's just in a little attendance sheet. If you don't see the event, just put in a comment anyway. And then also, we're created and supported and built by people like you and me. So we are sponsored by our donations and our labors of love. And this is a labor of love. So there is a link where you can donate and give generously. We will put it to great use and continue creating opportunities for voices and stories that have yet to be heard, yet to be told, maybe yet to have been created, can take the stage. I am honored to be with you, as I know we are honored to be with one another. Thank you for exercising your right to associate and to create. Let's go out with some thunder. I don't know what the rest of the song is, but all that's been going in my head is thunder, lightning, and thunder, lightning. Boom, boom. Yeah, exactly. Choose your beat. We will come to it. And thank you for being here with the festival. Thank you, Enid and Rochelle. It's gorgeous. Thank you for introducing us to your family and for us to create more.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Exactly. What is the fun?
Take care.
Great love.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank